Let's read this book called Refugees and Migrants. Great for older children too, to answer some of their questions about all the words they're hearing right now in the news. On every page, you can look for this cute little kitten. Who are refugees and migrants? Your home is a place where you spend time with the people you love, eat your favorite food, play with toys, and sleep in a warm bed. Sometimes people leave their homes because of wars or natural disasters like hurricanes or acts of terrorism. These things might have made it too dangerous to stay in their homes. They are known as refugees. Other people leave for a happier, healthier life, to join family members who already live overseas, or because they don't have enough money and they need a job. People who choose to do this are called migrants. So refugees are kind of forced to leave to stay safe, and migrants choose to leave to get a better life. Not all migrants leave home because they are living in poverty, but this book will look at different reasons why people need to escape other countries and what happens to them afterwards. Something I'm wondering about too. Well, this page is about children on the move. Some refugees and migrants are children who travel with parents or guardians. But every year, there are lots of children who make this journey alone without grown-ups. They might be orphans or because maybe they were separated from their parents along the way. I see that kitty. If you've ever lost your mom and dad or dad for a few minutes at the park or store, you know how scary that can feel when you're by yourself. It's much harder for children who are alone in a strange country. They often don't speak the same language or have anywhere to sleep, and they miss their family and friends. But this book is going to reassure you there are always, always helpers like you and like me and people that are looking out to make sure the children stay safe. Where do they come from? Refugees and migrants travel from countries all over the world. Some flee because of terrorism and war. Others leave because their lives are at risk because of who they are or what they believe. Often, refugees and migrants come from developing countries where people don't live long lives or have much money, and where many children don't get to go to school. Sometimes their homes have been destroyed by natural disasters. One thing I notice is they don't look very happy to be leaving. It's not a fun trip to make. Leaving home behind. If you've ever moved, you know it's normal to pack up your belongings and take them with you. When you go on vacation, you fill a suitcase with your clothes and your toys. Refugees usually leave their homes in a hurry, so they don't have time to pack. Even if they do, they can't carry heavy bags for long distances. Some manage to take a small bag with them, but usually they can only carry what will fit on their backs. Many refugees and migrants don't have a passport or a visa, which are the documents you need to enter another country. This means they aren't allowed to travel by plane, so their journey might take weeks or even months or years. I could not find the cat on this page. I think maybe the cat led the way out the door. How do they travel? Refugees and migrants are often so desperate that they risk their lives and pay smugglers to transport them to another country, maybe in a truck like this. Some spend days hidden without food or water. They have to keep very quiet and are scared they might be found. Others travel across rough seas and overcrowded boats. Many more walk for weeks in extreme weather conditions without anywhere to sleep. Sadly, some don't survive the dangerous journey, and that's just a sad truth. But it's important that we find ways to help so they won't have to put themselves in such danger. Where are they going? Refugees and migrants want to live in a country where they feel safe. Just like everyone else, they dream of a warm, comfortable home to take care of their family, to get a job and go to school. Only then will they be able to do the everyday things that we take for granted, such as buying their favorite foods, watching television, and having fun with friends. There goes the cat. What happens when they arrive? Most refugees and migrants have only the clothes they are wearing. Usually they have no money or anywhere to stay. It's hard to get help when they don't know who to ask or how to speak the country's main language. This is why many refugees and migrants end up homeless or living in tents, trailers, or shacks in refugee camps. Although this isn't as comfortable as living in a house, there are lots of helpers who hand out food, clothing, and medicine to the people. There are always helpers when there's a problem. Life in refugee camps. If you've been camping, you probably had a lot of fun. But life in a refugee camp is very hard. Families have to live together in small spaces, and children don't have their own rooms or even their own beds. Some don't have a bed at all. In some places, it's very hot or cold. There's no electricity or running water, so it's difficult to keep clean. And you might have to wait in line for hours to get food or medicine. And usually, there are no schools. It's not a place you want to stay for a long time. But some families do have to wait a long time in a refugee camp. People who help, like you. Teams of volunteers from charities and government organizations work hard to help people who are living in refugee camps. Some doctors and nurses set up clinics where they can treat people who are sick, and other volunteers build shelters or set up schools. Many people help by collecting clothes and supplies. I like that little kitty, he's raising his paw. Seeking asylum. Oh, that may be a tricky word you've heard. When a refugee or migrant arrives in a new country, they have to ask the government for permission to stay. This is called seeking asylum. It can be very complicated and confusing. So governments help asylum seekers find places to live and give them a small amount of money for food and other things. Asylum seekers who are children traveling without an adult live in children's homes or with foster families to keep them safe. Not all asylum seekers are allowed to stay in a country, so they might ask the government for permission again, seeking asylum in another country or live in refugee camps. Some are sent back to their home countries, and many of them need people to help them with all this paperwork. People like lawyers. A new life. When asylum is given, people gain official refugee status. This means they can stay in their new country for a number of years. During this time, they can work to earn money and create a better life for their family. Children can go to school, where they make new friends and sometimes learn a new language. If you meet a new child at school from another country, it's important to make them feel welcome. If after a period of time it's still not safe for refugees to return to their home, they can apply to stay forever. This means they won't have to worry about the future, and they can enjoy a safe and happy life in their new home. This book is teaching me so much. Talk about your worries. It's good to care about other people, but it can be upsetting to think about what life is like for refugees and migrants. If you are sad or worried, it's important to talk to an adult about how you feel. Together, you can think about ways that you can help. Remember, most people have a safe and comfortable home to live in. You and your family are not at great risk of becoming refugees or migrants. There are lots of smart people working hard to stop wars and terrorism and to end poverty all over the world. They want to make sure that everyone can live happily. How you can help. Lots of people are already helping refugees and migrants, but there are many ways you can help too. You could collect food, clothes, toys, or books to send to refugee camps. You could organize a bake sale or take part in a sponsored challenge to raise money for charities that help refugees, like Texas Refugee Services. You could even write a letter to the government asking them to do more to look after people in need. I like those ideas. Thank you guys for reading this book with me, and thank you for these wonderful bags of stuff that we made to welcome refugee families from Afghanistan. You are good peacemakers. Bye.